So I was watching a couple of antinatalism videos, and I thought I should make a video of my own because listen, there are a lot of reasons why you shouldn't have kids, right? One of the biggest ones is because I believe that, most people are not equipped to raise and educate a child to become a decent human being, right? Most people are not equipped to be parents. Simple as that. And the results can be plainly seen everywhere. So I am in favor of antinatalism, right? There is no way you should have kids, but listen. I've watched a video about this professor, and he gave like 10 reasons, top 10 reasons why you shouldn't have kids. And all of them were, of course, completely logical. Of course, they all made sense. But, you won't have time. Financially, you will be, in a bad situation, etc., etc. You won't have a lot of fun. You won't have a lot of sex. Your marriage will be shit. Your work will be shit. You won't make enough money. Whatever. You'll be stressed. All reasonable and sensible reasons. But I would say, in all of the videos that I have watched, most did not say the main reason why you should not have kids. All of the reasons that were said in all these videos were a bit narcissistic. They were about me, and my time, and my money, and, my fun, and, which is fine, but a bit too narcissistic. A bit too self-absorbed in my view, right? So here is the true reason why you shouldn't have kids, or why people shouldn't have kids. And I'm not trying to tell people how they should live their lives, but people should not have kids because we all know, or we should know, that life has a lot of terrible moments, and that most people are not, equipped early on to deal with all of this tragedy and suffering. Life is a lot of suffering. It has its good aspects, but a lot of suffering. In every aspect, there's a lot of suffering in life. And worst of all, you being a fucking a psychopath, you're gonna bring not only another human being into this world, but you're gonna bring your own child? Flesh of your flesh, bone of your bone, your own baby into this hellhole? And you have the audacity to claim to be respectable, right? I think you are a monster. If you, the world is crazy, bro. Most people are crazy, right? This is why you shouldn't have children. Whatever you do is up to you. Karma will settle the score, right? I have seen this throughout my life. There is karma. Everybody gets their just desserts, one way or another. In time, be patient, right? We were born here without our consent, and therefore we have to deal with this shit, right? All of the dumb shit, all of the torture, all of the suffering, all of the agony, all of the disappointments and complications, and all the pains and illnesses, and you're never really happy, you're never really fulfilled, etc., right? And you're gonna bring another human being into this world. You're gonna, your own child, your own blood, right? Your own kin into this world, because I don't know, you're lonely, or you don't have anything to rely on, so you're gonna be just like everybody else, so they don't point a finger at you. So that's why most people have children. That's psychopathic. This is the only reason, the real reason why you shouldn't have kids. And all of these people in these antinatalism videos, they talk, oh, there are enough people, overpopulation, you don't have room. See, this is again only me, my my comfort, right? What's convenient for me, you know? I should have this, and this, and bringing more people. It's a big no-no because it is an inconvenience to me. Like, stop it with the narcissism, bro. Why you shouldn't bring people in this world, in this life? It is because they will suffer as you have suffered. And apparently it is a trait of human beings not to inflict suffering onto others, although we know better, don't we? So why would you bring a child into this world knowing that that child has at least a 50-50 chance of suffering even more than you have suffered, of getting bullied, of being depressed and, God forbid, suicidal, and, etc., etc. Knowing all this, you're still gonna bring a child into this world because, I don't know, you're getting asked indiscreet questions by friends or whatever. Fuck those people, right? Bringing a child into this world, ladies and gentlemen, is the most serious thing you can ever do, and the most significant you can ever consider. This decision should not be taken lightly. I'm just gonna bring a couple of kids in this world because, I don't know, fuck it. Why not, bro? On me! Right? What's going on here? Right? Listen, this is so important. If you are wealthy, just by giving every advantage and every object and every material possession to your child is not good parenting. That child might have an advantage. That child might have certain routes opened to them because of your wealth and influence and connections. I'm here to tell you, it takes more than wealth, more than privilege, more than material goods to raise and educate your child to become a decent, normal human being, a proper human being. It takes more. You have to have principles and ethics and convictions and scruples and a certain standard of living and of thinking and of behaving. These are things that you need to instill in the child, and you must be an example for your child. It takes more than wealth, right? Like, a lot of people, after they have gained a bit of wealth, security, financial security, that is when they finally decide to have kids, because they imagine that it's gonna be smooth sailing, right? It's not gonna be smooth sailing. I don't know about you, but I had the opportunity in my childhood to come across a couple of kids that were fucking richy rich, boy. They had everything. And let me tell you, their family life, it was almost inexistent. Yeah, they had all the fucking toys. They had the biggest house you can imagine. Their family life, a mess. And let me tell you, the kids themselves, now that I think about it, they were kind of weird. I guess you would call them on the spectrum now, but I don't know. They were just awkward. They weren't all there. Let's just call it that. And a lot of them turned out to be psychos in the end. So, yeah, those are the results. It takes more to raise a proper human being than wealth and goods and privileges and opportunities and advantages, right? Doesn't matter what connections you have. You might get your kid the best job, the best paycheck. That child might be a piece of shit. And you should be ashamed of yourself for raising a piece of shit, right? Most parents don't have the balls to look themselves in the mirror and admit and confess that they are, pieces of shit who raised pieces of shit. Like, the fuck? right? I would argue that you need a child needs a certain environment, a certain balance of love and, tough love and affection and, discipline, whatever. You have to be a role model. You have to instill certain values that are priceless. That are priceless, right? And early on, okay? And this is what most people, most parents lack. Because they imagine that if they, I don't know, they feed them 3 times a day and they give them, I don't know, TV time and phone time and game time, and they send them to the best schools, they imagine that they're doing a good job, right? All the while, today, a lot of folks should be really afraid that their kids, especially their boys, might turn out to be, I don't know, serial killers and school shooters and fucking furries or whatever, right? Why? It is because of bad parenting, first and foremost. And then you can use the internet as an excuse. But first, your parenting or lack thereof, piss poor, is to be blamed first and foremost. But we're going back to the topic at hand. Antinatalism. If you are a decent human being with a brain, if you're capable of rationale, critical thinking, free thinking, you have to look around you for 2 seconds and decide that this is no place for a child. I mean, only a lunatic or a simpleton would think that this place is a good enough place to raise a child in, right? You have to be, do you have blinders on? This is not about you or your comfort or if it is convenient for you, if you have the money or not, or etc. This is not about you. This is about the fact that you're considering bringing your own child into a world, a life that is, in essence, miserable. People are miserable. Have you noticed? Most people are miserable. They boast and they flaunt and they act like they're in control and they have all their shit figured out. But they're not happy, bro. They're not happy with or without children. With everything they want or without. They are miserable, right? Their social lives are shit. Their private lives are shit. Their relationships are shit. Their sex lives are shit. It's like you can see them for who they are 5 seconds if you look at them. They pretend. They have a facade, but you can see. I certainly can see that most people are fakers. They're miserable because they understand deep down, subconsciously, that this world is not paradise. This world is not a joyride, right? It's not. From the day you are born to the day you die, you are exploited, taken advantage of, milked dry, used and abused and thrown in the trash, right? You have a couple of years before they send you to kindergarten, and then it's game over. And now basically now babies are born and then they're thrown into preschool or pre-kindergarten, and now they're just freshly out of the womb, and now they have to take exams and shit. A fucking baby, like this world is crazy. Crazy. Don't have children if you're, I don't know, if you have a heart, if you have a soul. Antinatalism. It's not about overpopulation. It's not about convenience. It's not about finances. It's not about your fuck life. It's about the principle, the ethical idea that one should not bring a child into a world that is deranged. This is what antinatalism should be about. Antinatalism should concern itself about the fact that it is evil to bring children in a world that promotes suffering. It promotes suffering. And people just willy-nilly keep on shitting children and sending them to school and then sending them to jobs so that then they can have children of their own and, repeat the cycle forever. This reality construct, whatever it is, the world, as we perceive it, is some sort of farm that thrives on our life energy, on our quintessence. The more we suffer, the more we work while we suffer. If living and working are tantamount to suffering, this world just eats it up. It loves this shit. It loves people being depressed. It loves people being suicidal. It loves people being bitter and sour and spiteful all the time. This world loves that shit. And this world strives to create more people that are miserable. Right? So this is what antinatalism should be about. Not about you and your precious wants and desires. It should be about the fact that it is a crime to bring another human being into this world while knowing full well that, man, this life is an abattoir, a slaughterhouse, a circus, a spectacle of the lowest caliber in which you are teased and abused all the time, and you're just, you're not happy, you're sad, you're unfulfilled in every way. Most people that just publicize all the time they're happy and that they're having a good time, they're lying. They're lying, a bunch of liars and phonies, right? And coincidentally, these are the people that have a lot of children. Okay? So this is antinatalism and why people need to stop having kids ASAP. Aren't you glad that your parents decided to have you so that you could go, I don't know, was it 8 years of primary school and then 4 or 5 years of, high school and then, I don't know, 4 or 8 or 12 years of college, to get that PhD, double D, right? What is that? Fucking 20 years plus kindergarten. And then you gotta get a job and you gotta get married, have a few kids, and then the fuck? Where's your life? Right? And you haven't learned anything from your miserable existence. That's a joke. You haven't learned anything. You have no introspection. You cannot muse on anything. So therefore, you're dumbass. You decide, my life was a shit show. I'm gonna have kids of my own. Why not? Let them suffer as well. Right? People are so numb. They're so indifferent. So desensitized. So atrophied in every which way that they cannot dissect the fact that their lives have been a fucking waste of time. A joke, a parody, a caricature. Not only that, they're not aware at all. They're not self-aware at all. And moreover, now they're going to have kids of their own. And they're so numb and so unconscious that they can't even conceive of the fact that their own children are going to suffer just like they have, and their own children are going to be numb and desensitized like they were. They cannot imagine such a thing. Most people think that they have lived a decent life that's appropriate, and yeah, it was all right, I guess, bruh. For real? Right? When I look back on my life, I'm just like, what the fuck happened? Where did the time go? I spent so much time in school. And then when I wasn't at school, I wasted the time I had left on stupid shit at home. And then with wasted my time with friends and helping this and doing that and the paperwork and, disappointment after disappointment, right? You gotta be, you gotta open your mind to what's happening to you and around you. You gotta see and admit the truth. Most people cannot see the truth of their own lives. They cannot admit that their lives were a waste of time, filled with nothing but misery. Aren't you glad you went to school where you learned nothing at all other than to be a submissive slave? Right? What's your education really about? What education, what culture do you have? With the exception of, going to work to earn a paycheck, to pay taxes, and raising kids so they can be wage slaves as well, to repeat the cycle. This is the true education of this world. This is why this world promotes having children, so that the cycle continues and our energy is siphoned away from us. Right? This is the matrix, boy. Right? And you're gonna have kids? Right? You're gonna submit your kids to torture. Metaphysical, existential, mental, emotional, physical, every which way. And you're such a dumbass that you can't even realize it. You can't realize the evil crime that you're committing. I'm gonna have kids. Why? Beats me. Everybody does it, so I guess I'm gonna have kids. Don't you know that life is a fucking miracle, bruh? Bruh, on me? Bruh? Right? Now I'm not telling everybody to, off themselves, whatever. Life is bearable. But if I had the choice, I wouldn't have been born. For what? Right? I can tolerate life. Life ain't no biggie. People are the problem. People complicate things. People make things unbearable. But if I had the choice, I'd be out of here. Right? Right? You gotta be honest, bro. Sincerity is key here. Sincerity. Stop sugarcoating the truth to protect your feelings, your petty feelings. This is not about you, bro. Life is not about you. Life is about suffering. Life is about suffering, And the worst part of it is, you see, you get a few good things in life where, maybe it is a psychedelic drug or a sexual relationships, or maybe you're accomplished in your career, whatever. Or maybe you have the luck of not having illnesses, something. You might have a few good things in your life. But even those will be trivialized. Even those amazing, wondrous things will be taken for granted, simplified, reduced in value, right? Right? Trivialized, turned to banalities, and mediocrities, right? This is the real irony of life, that even if there are certain things that should be held in high regard, even those things will be, shit on, right? Thrown in the mud, whatever it is. Whatever good thing that you have, you can bet your ass people will brutalize it and savage it and sodomize it, right? Take it for granted, belittled, whatever, doesn't matter, right? Right? So, I would advise, pro-antinatalists. I'm one of you guys, but use the real reason and motive why people shouldn't have kids. It is because it is an ethical travesty of the highest order. Right? Not because you won't have time to do whatever. Not because you will be financially impaired. Not because, you won't have time on the weekends to, Yelp or whatever the fuck. It's not about you. It is It is about the travesty that you're bringing another soul into this senseless meat grinder. This is the real reason why people shouldn't have children. Life is a meat grinder. And people have been so brainwashed and dehumanized that they believe that it is a pretty good place to live in. Pretty good place. Pretty good place with all the genocide and Holocaust and pogroms. Pretty decent. I mean, when you look at even the mainstream history, oh boy, nothing but dumb shit. Okay? This should be the only goal, the only creed, the only anthem of antinatalism. Not because of overpopulation or, I don't know, because you don't get enough sleep if you have kids. No. The reason why you shouldn't have kids, bruh, it is because it is a crime to bring another soul willingly into this domain of pain. Right? It is a crime against humanity to bring another soul here. Right? Until this place improves, childbearing should be on the down low, on the back burner, in the background, not that popular. Right? If you have a soul, right? If you have a consciousness and a conscience, right? Which demonstrates, without a doubt, that most people don't have a conscience. They have no principles or convictions. How can you bring a child in this world? For what? To make yourself feel better? This is not about you. Right? To be respectable in your neighborhood or your society or your community? Fuck those people. It's not about them or you. It's not about your reputation or how you feel. This is about bringing a child, innocent, vulnerable, into a storm of disaster. A storm of disaster. Right? And I'm not against life, you know. I'm in favor of living. It is what it is. It is the cards I was dealt. But I'm not going to simp for life or for the world. And I'm not telling people to off themselves. But stop simping for life or society or having a family. Most families are fucking insane. They are, what's the word? Like, most families are fucking a mess. A mess. I know their appearance is, so wholesome. It's not. Believe you me. Most families, most people are fakers. They're pretending. It's a facade. Okay? Right? Life is tolerable. It is what it is. It's not constant hell, but it's certainly no paradise. What are you talking about? The joy of living. The life living is a bliss. Don't you know? Don't you know? It ain't. It ain't. I mean, bro, to me, having kids in this current world is like the worst crime ever. Right? And the next one is pedophilia and etc. Right? But having children is just, are you insane? Are you deranged? Who hurt you? Why are you so disturbed that you imagine that you think it's a good idea to have kids? Right? And I'm gonna say another thing, and this video will end. Listen, folks, if you're gonna have children for whatever fucking reason, God help you. But if you're gonna have children, bruh, don't have kids when you're in your late 30s or in your 40s or if you're crazy enough, in your 50s. Like, what's the matter with you? I come from a family, my parents were 40 when they had me. Let me tell you, that's one perspective most people don't have, right? Don't have kids if you're past your prime for the obvious reasons. Are you insane? Like, listen, up to your early 20s. That is it. That is it. Okay, 25, 26, 27, 28, maybe. Okay, we can squeeze it in, but 30, you're out of your, are you out of your mind? You're out of your mind. Out of your mind. Right? Okay, accidents happen, whatever. Apparently, I was a happy accident. Right? That's how I came to be. You know, don't you want to be called a happy accident? Anyway, in your late 20s, you're already biologically a bit expired. The quality of your DNA is already going down the drain. In your 30s, you are, let's just say, less than you used to be. Your DNA, your quintessence is not fresh. It's not primo material anymore, obviously. Okay? And the older you get, that should be an incentive not to have kids, not the other way around, right? Not the other way around. You have to be labeled criminally and legally insane if you have kids after your 20s. You're crazy. You're crazy. Why? Yet again, it's not about you and not about your precious little feelings. It is about the fact that your kid will grow up with old fucks. Like my parents were old enough to be my grandparents, bro. It's not a pretty sight. It's not constructive or conducive to a good childhood. It can be nice, but I don't recommend it. The fuck? Right? I don't recommend it at all. Right? I remember, in primary school, grade 1 or 2, we had parent-teacher conferences, and bro, my dad was the only one with white hair, and I was like, 7 or 8 years old? The fuck? My dad was the only one out of the parents with white hair, right? Put that into perspective. I mean, when I was born, they were already tired of everything. 40 years old, tired of life, tired of working. This is what happens. Their genetic makeup was already down the drain, third rate. This is what happens, right? In your early 20s, this is the, the most auspicious and promising, zone or whatever you want to call it when you should have kids. If you want to have kids for whatever demented reason, not when you're 29 or 30, bro. 40? 45? Right? Like, listen, when your kid will graduate, you'll be senile in diapers, right? If you have a kid when you're 40, the fuck? No kid wants to experience that shit. When your kid finally is old and mature enough to, experience life and have a good time, finally, that your kid is finally free as an adult to have some fun. No, your kid's gonna have to take care of your old ass. At 18 years old. It's not a good ride. It's not a fun ride, bro. Right? I follow a couple, right, online, because they talk about books, and motherfuckers are, 38 years old, and now they've decided to have a kid. Like, the father already has white in his hair and beard. No! This is what happened to certain people. When they're young, they have a good time, they have fun, whatever, sleep around. They get their jobs, they make that money, they have their savings, they finally earn a good paycheck, a good salary. Now they're in their late 30s, they have nothing going for them, right? They have nothing else to do. They're bored out of their minds, their sex lives are shit, entertainment no longer has any effect, etc., right? Because now they are faced with the irrelevance of life itself. Now, out of desperation, out of fear, to keep themselves occupied and to feel important, Now, in almost 40, they're gonna have kids to feel important. Because now they feel like, they have that financial security. Bro, you're old. You're too old to have kids. You're too old to have kids. Too old. That kid will not have a good childhood. When that kid finally reaches, self-awareness, when that kid finally can put two and two together, 12, 13, 14, 15, that kid will look around and see you and be shocked, because that kid will realize, bro, my parents are, with one foot in the grave almost, and my balls haven't even dropped yet. The fuck? Right? And I know somebody, like her dad is in his 90s, and motherfucker had kids like every decade. Like this person, she's in her late 40s, and she has a sister that's in her 70s, and this sister is senile, and this younger sister has to take care of, this senile older sister that's old enough to be her grandmother, right? So you have siblings that have decades separating them. They're again, right? I see this everywhere. You have to be deranged or bored out of your mind, legally insane, right? Right? Everybody is entitled to live how they want to live. If they want to have kids, fine. That's on you. That karma is on you, bruh. Right? I'm not telling anybody how to live their lives, but golly, you gotta have some fucking critical thinking behind you. A conscience. Let's have kids because, I don't know, the fuck are we gonna do with ourselves? I don't know. How about live with dignity? People have kids because they're afraid to be alone. Like most relationships, marriages, after a year or two, they get stale. The fucking sucks, okay? The fucking in the bedroom sucks. So they're like, well, we gotta have a hobby. We gotta keep this marriage, this relationship together. So I don't know, let's have a bunch of kids. I don't know. To keep ourselves occupied. And I've seen this. Whether they are 20-year-olds or 45-year-olds, I mean, these new parents, if they're old or young, they become these fanatics, these religious, fervent zealots with their brand new born children. It's like the second coming. It's like they're on drugs. It's like, oh, I bought off, it's like they buy all of these outfits. They're cute and blah 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 and coochie goo, right? They go full retard because the baby is so cute. And let me tell you what happens when the child finally becomes sentient and learns to speak. That is precisely when the kid is not cute anymore, because now the kid can criticize you, the parent. Now the kid can call you on your bullshit, right? The reason people now choose to have pets, it is because pets love them unconditionally, and pets cannot criticize. Pets can only accept what the master wants, right? Right? And this is probably why a lot of people have kids, is because for a couple of years, they are gods, right? It's a sort of God complex. That little child will worship you, and it feels so good, doesn't it? This ego shit, egomaniacal, megamaniacal, it's disgusting, sickening. People need to grow the fuck up. So that's about it with antinatalism, right? You're making good points, but you're missing the only one that's really important. It's not about you or your quality of life. It's about the fact that it is the worst travesty of all to bring another human being here, knowing full well that life in general is a fucking shit show. Like, that is it. That is it. That is why people shouldn't have kids, not because of financial constraints and I don't know, we can't fuck all the time. This is not about that. It's not about you, bruv. Right? Like, listen, this is, and I'm gonna end it with this. Like, as far back as I can remember, I never once thought, I wonder what it would be like to have kids. Never in my life have I ever wanted to have kids. Never. It never crossed my mind. Just like it never crossed my mind to get married or owning a car or, traveling. It never crossed my mind because I can see it for what it is. I've always seen it for what it is. Right? Never once have I wondered, oh boy, I wonder what it will be like to be a father. Nope. I wonder what it's like to be a parent. I wonder, should I have kids? Never. Ever. Okay? But that's just me, whatever. Right? If you think that karma doesn't exist, oh boy, you're gonna have a rude awakening one day. Right? Karma is a bitch. Okay? But that's about it. If you wanna support your boy, I got a few books on Amazon. The link will be down below. Thanks for watching. As always, think critically, think for yourself. Don't be a mindless fool. Thanks for watching. See ya.